Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your hosts, Tom Zappala and Boston sports personality, John Mallory.
JM, baby, how you doing?
What's up, Zap?
How's the weather there?
It sucks, man. It's cold.
Hey, it's cold here too, 73. Not too bad, not too bad. Hey, welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. We have a jam-packed show today. We've got all kinds of faces that we're going to be looking at. A couple of them aren't too good looking, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, we've got our good pal, Derek Grady, Executive Vice President of Heritage Auctions, and one of our good friends. He's always supporting us. Derek, he's like a giant jockstrap. Then we have my old partner is in the studio with JM, Mike Lomazzo, my old broadcasting partner for 21 years. Michael, I'm glad they let you out of the nursing home. Congratulations. How you doing, buddy?
You know, Tom, it's almost a pleasure to be here.
That's good. That's really good.
But Mike, how does it feel to be on set with someone with talent?
Oh,
referring to you.
Yeah.
Mikey,
this is a giant step up
carried
for you.
For 20 years. Don't give me that crap.
What, say that again?
All right, now listen. You can listen to us on watch us on Facebook, YouTube, any of your favorite platforms, Pandora, Alexa. Oh, we don't want to talk to her. She's behind me. iHeartRadio, and of course, we're on 980 WCAP up in the Boston area. We have a special guest today. As many of you know, Rico and I, Mallory is too cheap to come down. Rico and I are going to be doing a fundraiser for the Little Smiles Children's Charity down here in Florida. It's a great organization, and we've hooked up with them because we did a little research, and 93 cents out of every dollar goes directly to these kids who are in the hospital, they're in hospice, they're homeless, all kinds of kids with all kinds of problems, and this organization is really, really good. So we asked a special guest to come in today. This is Tom Cerrito, president of Cerrito Electric down here in Florida, and the lead sponsor for the event. Tommy boy, nice to see you, brother.
Pleasure, D. Thanks, guys.
I don't know if you know these guys. And by the way, I want to mention Derek. We're going to talk about this because, all kidding aside, Derek has really stepped up to the plate for us right out of the gate. We're doing a live auction. Our sponsors have sent some unbelievable memorabilia that we're going to be auctioning off. I'm going to be the lead auction guy, and possibly Josh Cohen from ESPN is going to be working with me. Josh he's the ESPN guy down here. We've got some great stuff. We've got signed balls, signed basketballs, signed jerseys, bats. This gentleman right here, Mr. Grady, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were going back and forth on the Rico Petrocelli game-used bat, the last bat that Rico used in a baseball game. And I sent it out, Derek, to Mr. Tobby, and he sent it back. It's all wrapped. I haven't opened it, but it's all authenticated, photo matched, all of that stuff.
What's it graded?
I didn't open it up. I didn't open it. You want me to open it?
Yeah.
It's all
the
sealed.
grade matters.
All right. Well, I'll let you know after the show. I'll text you. Okay. But anyway, to make a long story short, Derek has been more than kind enough and has an opening bid of $3,000 on the bat. Thank you so much, man. I'm serious.
Right.
That's awesome.
We're donating the bat. ATS is donating the bat. We bought it on a Leland's auction. We're donating it, and Derek has stepped up, and he's already offered more than we paid for it. So I can't thank enough, Derek. Seriously.
Well, I mean, that's just the opening bid. Hopefully, I get outbid. Right. Obviously, it's for charity.
Right.
So
right. Tommy,
but I at least set the bar.
You did. Tommy, how did you get involved with Little Smiles?
Well, it's interesting. About 18 years ago, we used to put on car shows and motorcycle shows in South Florida. And I got introduced to Chip Donahue, who's the actual founder of Little Smiles. Great guy. Started talking to me about it. And I said, you know what? My wife and I at the time had 3 kids. And we're like, it should be a great, to get involved, a great charity to get involved in. And being a business owner and knowing many other business owners, it gives us an opportunity, to reach out to them and say, hey, I know you have kids and I want to tell you a little bit about the charity. But anyway, in the first couple of years, we raised probably, $10,000 to $15,000 just doing little car shows and little motorcycle shows, throughout Palm Beach County. And then I never really got to see it firsthand on what they do. And funny enough, well, not funny enough, but one of my kids got sick. We had a newborn baby, and at 2 years old, he ended up developing some kind of problems with his lungs. So my wife and I were at the hospital, and we're hanging out with my child and making sure everything is good. And these people walked in and said, they didn't introduce themselves as Little Smiles, but they said, I'm so-and-so, and does your son need anything? And we said, oh, he likes this and he likes that, and this might make him feel better. And they went out and got it. And I found out it was from Little Smiles. Now, they didn't know who I was because they were just volunteers, and they didn't know that we were involved. So to see it firsthand kind of really touched my wife and I, and we've been involved ever since.
So you guys do a big gala event, right?
Yeah, Little Smiles puts on a gala at the end of the season, and there's got to be at least, I want to say 500 to 700 people at the Hilton
Where is
Hotel.
At the Hilton?
Yeah, downtown in Clematis.
In West Palm.
Yeah, the brand new Hilton Hotel. And they take up the entire area, and they do a gala. And to see these kids come in wheelchairs, and the kids that may be suffering from cancer, and kids that are suffering from leukemia or whatever it may be, it really touches your heart. And the way they set it up, as they roll these kids in, or these kids do walk in, we become the paparazzi, and we take photos of them, and it makes them feel special. They go down a red carpet, and we wave to them, and it's the ones that can sign autographs will sign autographs. And it's just to see that and see where, like Tommy said, to see where the money goes and what it does for these children and for the families. We got invited, I don't know if you remember this, but we got invited to do a donut run at the hospital that's coming up.
I know, yeah. Rico and I are going to be in, Tom. We're going to be delivering donuts to the kids at one of the hospitals. Looking forward to that, really am. Excuse me.
And the reason this had really transpired too is, and Chip spearheaded, is he said at one point in time, he had a friend of his that was a police officer that was detailed at the hospitals, and they would actually taking money out of their own pocket to get kids candy and kids donuts and this and that. And it dawned on Chip, let's do a charity where that, first responders don't have to come out of their own pocket because they feel bad for a child. We want to start something up. And that's how it was created, really, Tom. It was all in the hospital.
And by the way, this auction is down here, and this event is down here, excuse me, in Juno Beach. And all you folks out there that are watching, we know that most of you, if not all of you, are not going to be able to fly down to the event. But if you can make a donation on the link below, I don't care if it's $10, $20, we're asking you to please make a donation. Just click on the link, and it's very easy to contribute. Derek, do you guys, Heritage has done a lot for charities over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, for sure. We're asked a lot, and we definitely contribute to, Chris would make that decision. He's the head of the department, which ones, but it's generally, I don't know that we say no to any legitimate charity, to be honest. I mean, Heritage is, give us back wherever we can. A lot of times can be with the radio show, whether it's at the, the national, or whether it's, this charity, which, I'm not involved in anything personally myself right now. So I felt like this was a good opportunity for me to jump in on this one. Since I know you guys, I trust you guys, Hey,
Derek, have you went on their website to really see what it's all about?
I haven't, but I'm going to. Now I will.
You should, because I think you'll see the joy they bring to a lot of families. There's nothing worse than having a sick child.
What is the
there's
website,
nothing,
guys?
and I have 2 kids in there. Yeah, there's nothing worse than I mean, first of all, your kids, even if when you're 80, you still worry about them. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
but
Mikey-
to have them sick, it is the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I think everybody can get behind kids' charities. And this sounded like a really good one to me. And I know I've heard them talk about it before. And last year, we always donate, but this year, I do collect game used bats, and they have that Rico bat. So I was like, hey, I can step up here. I don't care if I overpay for it. The money's going to charity. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's not about that.
I have a question
And-
for. Sorry, Derek. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Finish. Okay. You good?
Who has a question?
All right. No, I just had a question for both Toms actually, because you're both businessmen, and we'll start with you, Tom, in Florida. How important is it for you as a business owner to get involved with the community? And you also said you kind of have solicited other businesses getting involved. Do you find that they're responsive to things like this?
Absolutely. I think when it comes to children, like Derek said, everybody, the gloves are off. Everybody wants to help out. Everybody wants to contribute. We're in the process of doing an Italian festival in 2025. That's majority is going to go to the charity.
Yeah, and Mikey, by the way, we're going to get you involved with me and later on. I'm going to throw some ideas out because obviously you and I have a little experience. One thing I want to say is, and I'm speaking for Rico also, as I know Mike knows, and I think John knows, and a few other people. We did a fundraiser for the Jimmy Fund about 4 years ago down here in Florida. It was wildly successful. The reason being is because, Rico and I were talking, and Rico was on the board of the Jimmy Fund at the Dana-Farber for years. He was one of the liaisons for the Red Sox. And I personally, had an experience with the Jimmy Fund with my oldest daughter, who is now 47 years old, and Mikey knows this.
Wow.
47 years old, and she had cancer when she was 4. And she was, I have a tickle here.
It's that
she
Florida,
she was at the Jimmy Fund for a year and a half. No, about a year, every day going back and forth. They saved her life. And Rico and I talked, says, Rico, this is an opportunity to do something. And we did the Jimmy Fund. Now, and Tommy, I've said this to you. The Jimmy Fund they can always use money, but they have $1 billion in endowments. They're pretty flush, and they're doing phenomenal work. A charity like Little Smiles could really use the help. That's why we're kind of gravitating towards them.
Was that the one we did with Tony DeMarco as well?
Yep.
Yeah, I was involved.
Yep, Cerrito Electric was involved with that too. Go ahead, John.
No, I just want to ask Mike, because I know both with the show you guys used to do together, the feast you guys organize here in the area, and your own business life, that charitable work and community work has been important to you as well.
Oh, there's no question about it. But you get inundated. There's
do.
so many requests.
You do.
I mean, you have to set aside a certain portion of your profits.
Right.
And that's going to be it. And
Right.
stay with it. And
Yeah.
stay with it.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Little Smiles. I don't know if it's Florida Central, Tom, or is it all over the country?
Southern Florida, Mikey.
Just Southern Florida.
But Mikey, you
The
want to
fact-
say
the
something?
fact-
I get this list,
Yeah.
and your name was on the list, so you already made a contribution, and thank you.
Yeah, but didn't they say they're also hitting different states now?
Yes, they're
They're
expanding.
hitting New York and
Yep.
You never have
ahead,
to
Mark.
thank me. Any organization, the 501c3, like we're talking about, that does what they do and has a net of 93%, let me tell you, I think that's phenomenal. Phenomenal. And that's a very rare. You look at the amount of charitable organizations out there and look at how much filters down to
Yeah, it's
what
true.
the
Yeah.
money that's being donated.
Yep.
The administrative costs, they're ridiculous. People are making a
Sure,
fortune.
sure.
So to see somebody at 93% seeing an organization, fantastic.
Derek, by the way, one thing you may want to do, maybe talk to Chris, is I know your platinum auction is just starting, and it is the single biggest collectibles auction in the world
Wow.
every year. And you have a 1979 and 80 O-Pee-Chee unopened box, the only one in existence, which, by the way, has the Wayne Gretzky rookie card. And right now in the auction, what's it at right this second as we speak?
I think if the auction ended right now, it's at like 1.3 plus the buyer's premium, which pushes over 1, would push, 1.6 million. And that's the auction just started. There's 20.
So I think it would be a nice gesture on your part to talk to Chris and see if he can throw it our way. What do you think?
Just the case. What would be the case is owned by the consigner. We don't own it, but I know what you're saying. We'd have fun opening it, right?
Oh, God, that would be a blast.
That case is really like a Sasquatch sighting. I mean, even Steve Hart, who authenticated the case, couldn't believe it. And our consigner actually, when you watch the video and read the description, our consigner thought it was a 1980-81 case, which would be worth about, $300,000. And it turns out he poked a hole in it just to see, and the boxes were white. So he's thinking he's got a great case of second-year Gretzky's. Turns out he has a rookie case. And,
It's unbelievable.
It truly is. And we always thought one may have existed somewhere up there in Canada, and it did. And we were fortunate enough to get it. And it's really exciting what that case is going to sell for. Boxes, so it's a 16-box case. They're the only boxes that Steve has opened up from a sealed case. So these aren't boxes that have been put together by pack from different stores over the years. This is from the factory. They're pristine. They're from a sealed case. And boxes generally sell in that $150,000 to $200,000 range. Now, these are from a sealed case. So if you do the math and say it's $200 a box, that puts it at $3.2 million.
That's unbelievable. And it's one of one. It's one case, the only case in existence.
Yeah.
Correct?
And it will probably get broken up. I mean, an investor could buy it, but it could be broken up. I mean, everybody would love to have boxes in their inventory. And that's one of the great items. That's one of the headlines we have.
Yeah, we're gonna go through. There's quite a list. And by the way, speaking of hockey, one of the items, Tommy, right?
Yeah.
Is
Miracle on Ice.
Actually, the Miracle on Ice, but this is by probably the best sports artist in the country, who, by the way, Derek, I know you're a big customer of his, James Fiorentino. James sent us a couple, they call them geeklies or geeklays. What they are, they're prints. But one of them he sent is a one of one. It's a print of the Miracle on Ice from the 1981 or 80 Olympic team, captained by Mike Ruzioni. Mike is going to be with us at the event, because this event is in a restaurant. It's all Boston people. And Mike is going to sign the print on the premises the day of the auction so we can auction it off.
Wow.
That's going to be a nice piece.
Yeah, that's going to
be a nice piece.
That's great.
So we've got some good stuff. What else do we have, Tommy? Any?
There's a bunch of great stuff there. I mean, there's a framed Joe DiMaggio photo. There's Duke Snyder photos. There's baseball signed by Hank Aaron. There's baseball signed by Tom Seaver, who's one of my favorite pitchers.
Get out of here. Koufax.
There's just Rico's bat, which, Derek, we can't thank you enough for bidding on that.
A Larry Bird signed jersey.
Correct.
So we got some cool stuff.
Yeah, this was some really nice stuff, but we're actually shocked about.
And by the way, we got a call this morning from our good friend of Ellen and I, who's worked with us, Andy Montero. Derek, you know Andy from?
I do not.
Okay, Andy works for the Miami Heat. He's the director of marketing, and he is overnighting us a Miami Heat signed team ball, which is going to go in the auction. So that's kind of a cool piece.
Yeah.
Do we have to get a case for that, or is it going to come with the case?
I have no idea.
Let me know.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out. What else? Anything else, Tommy? The auction is March 2nd.
Yep. It's in Juneau, Florida, which is nearby from us. And
County Line Restaurant. Nice Italian kid, Mike, from the North End. His name is Massimo. He's the owner. And by the way, we have some other special guests that we're trying to line up. Mike Andrews, who was Rico's second baseman, and possibly Johnny Bench maybe joining us. And Rico is great. Rico's going to do a signing, but Rico is Rico when he stands up in front of a crowd and just talks. He's laugh out loud funny. All right, with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, Tommy.
I just want to thank you and Rico, Derek, Mike,
Pleasure.
Audience. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to do a little Gax moment, and then we're going to talk to Derek and Mike. We're going to talk about the auction. We're going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about the state of affairs in the United States. You name it, we're going to talk about it. We'll be right back.
Are we really?
Hi, this is Rico Petrocelli. Right now, thousands of children are facing the most difficult times in their lives with serious illness, homelessness, and other tragedies. I hope that you can join us on March 2nd at the County Line Restaurant in Juno Beach, Florida, for a live auction and some great baseball talk. If you can't join us, please consider a donation to littlesmilesfl.org. That's littlesmilesfl.org to help these kids. And when
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and got to tell you, I'm really pleased that everybody's jumping in. Pretty good guy, John, huh, Tommy?
I tell you, he seems like a real committed guy who's in the community, right? Not only that, but getting other people involved, and that's great. You know, it's great to see businesses that are making a profit and making a living in a community give back. That's what you look for.
Tom, I've known Tom for about 10 years now, and he never says no. He never says no. Got a great business, by the way. I'll give him a plug. Cerrito Electric does all commercial. He's got about 20 guys working for him, does a great job. And that's about it. Okay. It is time now for another GAX moment, brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and the great crew at PB Collectables. Go to pbcollectables.com to get that special card baseball, or piece of memorabilia. This week, we're talking about the biggest bust. Every year, there's talk and speculation about the next phenom. The baseball world is littered with phenoms that unfortunately became phenomenal busts. David Clyde, Greg Jeffries, Matt Bush, Brian Taylor, Joe Charbonneau. The list goes on and on. There is one player, however, who stands out as the bust of all bust. Clint Hartung was a strapping 17-year-old hitter coming out of high school in Hondo, Texas. Newspapers had the Hondo Hurricane touted as the next Babe Ruth and Christy Mathewson all rolled into one. Clint could do it all. He was hitting 400-foot homers as a high school player and mowing batters down game after game. Clint was scouted heavily, and the consensus was that this kid was certainly going to be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame someday. When the war broke out, Clint went into the Army and played on different semi-pro teams in the military. During that period, Hartung batted .567 and was 25-0 as a pitcher. And some good semi-pro military teams. The New York Giants could not wait to sign this phenom. They assigned him to the Class C Northern League, where he batted a lofty .358 with 12 home runs and was 3-1 as a pitcher. Both fans and the press were convinced that Clint was going to lead them for years to the promised land of the Giants. After signing in 1947, Hartung walloped a home run in his first at-bat intra-squad game. He had a pretty good rookie season, going 9-7, and batted .309 in 94 at-bats. From there, it went south. It seems that Clint was not a very good outfielder and had a great deal of difficulty tracking fly balls. They would bounce over his head, they'd bounce in front of him, just couldn't field them. And then for some other reason, he was having a great deal of difficulty hitting a major league curveball. The Giants decided to take him off the field and just keep him on the mound. In any event, Clint could not cut it. He went back down to the minors and again looked like the Bambino. When they brought him back up, he looked more like Bambi than the Bambino. The star began to fade for Clint, but he managed to have a very vanilla 7-year career with the Giants. He wound up 29-29 as a pitcher and had a lifetime batting average of a lofty .238, with only 378 total at-bats. Cliff finally walked away from the game at the age of 31 after spending a couple of more years in the minors. And again, he killed it in the minors, came back up, and that was the end. The faded Pheon went back to Texas and got into the oil business. He never liked to discuss his baseball career. Like David Clyde, Greg Jeffries, and the rest, Clint Hartung faded into the baseball sunset peacefully. And that's another Gax moment. Who do you guys think was the biggest bust of all time?
I mean, that's a tough one. That is. You mentioned Brian Taylor. I mean, he was incredibly highly touted, right, with the Yankees. Joe Charbonneau won the Rookie of the Year.
He did,
but then never did anything else.
Then he crashed.
Then he crashed. I mean, there's so many guys like that, and it's tough in baseball. I mean, they're across all sports, but yeah, to me, in my lifetime, the Taylor kid was so hyped.
Greg Jeffries too, though.
Jeffries
was
hyped.
really hyped.
Yeah, he was very much hyped.
All right, really, right? I mean, he was like,
his rookie cards were off the charts. Like, people couldn't wait to get the Greg Jeffries rookie.
Right. Yeah,
that was crazy. I mean, if you look at other sports like football, Ryan Leaf, it was him neck and neck with Peyton Manning.
Yeah, you remember the lineman Tony Mandarich?
Who
was at the top of the draft.
I don't even know how he failed. He looks like the Hulk.
I think he had steroid problems, though.
Yeah.
Something went on with him. But I'll tell you the one that sticks out in my mind when I was a kid, you guys are probably too young for this. Mikey, you may remember. David Clyde.
Yeah. He was like 17 years old or something when he came up.
And I mean, they hyped him like was just
no idea
amazing
who he
that,
is.
that he was going to just be the
thing
next.
is, sometimes bus is not the fault of the player. You know, sometimes it's where they go. Sometimes it's the organization rush them. Like I think about Ryan Leaf. The Chargers were a horrible organization at that time. There was no structure. There was poor coaching. You know, at least Manning went to the Colts. Jim Mora was a good coach, and they eventually got Dungy. And sometimes it's where you go.
Well, what about Mac Jones?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones, I can't call him a bust. He wasn't the number one pick, but I mean, I agree. Mac Jones, after McDaniels left, Mac Jones was lost. They brought in those two idiots, and then this year was a complete disaster. So it's sometimes it's where you go. It's not always the player, All
right, let's get back to our friend Derek and Mikey. Mike, I'm going to ask you first. So based on, listen, you're a financial guy. And you're a very good financial guy, the president of the DeVille Group. You guys do phenomenally well. What are you looking at? What is 2024 looking like to you, Michael?
That's really a tough question, especially in an election year.
Right.
Normally, if you go back historically, it turns out to be a pretty good year from January to December. That being said, there's a lot of craziness going on right now throughout the world. I mean, you look at Germany. Germany is right on the edge of recession, if not in recession. The supply chain, we're finally starting to get product in the supply chain. Tom, it's very rare that you would walk into locally a Market Basket store and see products missing on their shelves. That never happened before. And now you see it as commonplace. And it's very rare. But
so how is that going to affect us directly in the United States?
Well, the thing you have to look for, our products are getting shipped all over the world. So the key to this whole thing is going to be interest rates. That is the generator going forward. In my personal opinion, and from some of the people that we talk to, it looks like the first 5-6 months are going to be very quiet. But I think going into the latter part of 24, you're going to see probably rates drop 3 different times.
All right, so...
And that's going to stimulate, because if you have interest rates hovering 7.5% to 8% for housing, and you see the housing market is really drying up for new homes. If you buy a house, what do you need? You need appliances. You need this. You need that. It's a stimulus. It stimulates the economy like unbelievable. And right now, people are hesitant because a lot of people, Tommy, are borderline qualifying to begin with. You look at an 8% mortgage,
right? It
can put you out of the market.
All right, so Derek, what he's saying, is that affecting you're getting consignments and you guys are kicking ass, to be honest with you, and you have been. And you told me that 2024 is looking good, but are you seeing any signs at all of the general collector, not the guy that's going to spend $2 million or $3 million on a bat or a glove, or I'm just talking the 80-20 rule, that 80%. Are you seeing anything there with a slowdown?
So when you mention, billionaires even slow down.
Really?
Okay, they are still conservative when it comes to spending money. And like Tommy said, when you talk about interest rates, okay, people want cash advances. Money's not free anymore. When you could borrow money at 1%, we can work that into a deal.
Right.
Now money costs money, and we got to charge interest on this money when people want to consign a lot of stuff. And, obviously it can be factored in the deal, but it tends to be most consigners want the rate. They want money up front, interest free. They want the best rate they can get, and they want to work with the best auction house. And sometimes you just can't get all three like that. There's got to be some concessions. When money's freely flowing at 1%, 2%, you can borrow it. It is a demonstrative difference when it is 8% to 12%. And people cut back. But I will tell you, our first auction out of the gate, I think our estimates were 9.5 million.
And this
So
is this was your winter
the
auction?
January auction that just
Right.
ended last weekend. And if you would have told me sign up for the estimates at 9.5 million, I would have done that and ended up doing over 11 million with lots of world records. Okay. And the one, if you want to say a bellwether item would be a Jordan rookie and a PSA 10. That's a blue chip card. They generally have been closing in the 200 range, and we sold one for 372 grand. And that it was a nicer one. It was certified at an extra gold label on it, but it was a PSA 10. And PSA 10s are PSA 10s.
All right. So wait a second. So the blue chip items have not lost any steam, pretty much?
Well, I would make the argument that, yeah, maybe during the height of COVID, you might have seen higher prices on Ruth and Cobb, but they really are still strong. Okay. The Jordan card at the height, if you remember, there was some that sold, many have sold over 500,000.
Right.
But there were some that sold at 800,000, which is just crazy. Okay. There's too many of them. But the fact that they're back in over, we just sold one for over 300 grand is on the way back up. And the unopened wax prices were beyond records. Lots of blue chip cards are strong. It was just, anytime you do estimates over a whole auction, and the whole auction comes to about 9.5 million, and you end up doing 20% more than your estimates, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's a good sign. And our February Platinum Night auction is off to a tremendous start as well. I don't know where it's going to end, but it's going to be in that $30 million range. So there are people, but again, back to the point of people wanting to buy houses, there are also people out of principle that they passed on interest rates at 2%. So now they're being told it's 8%. Out of principle, I'd feel like an idiot now.
Sure.
Like I passed at 2%. Now I'm going to go spend 8% to go get the same loan. People are going to wait. I mean, we all knew it was it was, holy crap, interest rates are low. We should all be going to, people that wanted to buy a house should have bought one right then. And there were some people that I talked to that said, I'm going to wait till they go lower. And I was like, what do you think? They're not going to give you money to go buy a house.
Mikey, did you see that?
No.
Really?
Oh.
So basically, you're saying that if a house loan or something was down at 2%, they were jumping on it?
Oh,
did you see them jumping on it?
Oh, sure. Absolutely on that part. Yeah, I agree with you there. As a matter of fact.
Everybody should have, right?
And there was a lot of speculation, too. People were buying houses just to flip them. And
yes,
that's a whole different animal altogether. It's interest rates, really, that and the price of fuel. If you ask me the two lowest common denominators, it would have to be fuel interest rates or interest rates fuel. But they go hand in hand. And when you turn the spigot and you shut off Canadian fuel just by turning a valve, cold turkey, instead of gradually weaning down, it affected a ton of people. I mean, a lot of people lost their jobs. And it caused people are questioning exactly what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. What were you saying, Tom?
I said, no, John.
No, I'm just listening. I think a lot of it, like Derek just said, they did more than they thought they were going to do in the January auction. And I think, and we've talked about on this show a lot, is because I think people that are into collectibles, people that are into sports, and I can bring, sports betting and fantasy sports into this as well, that, we talk a lot about when looking at collectibles, that sort of split between doing it as a love and doing it as an investment. And I think more and more people are looking at it as an investment now. And I think it's become, like our friend Tom Ruggie says, part of their portfolio now.
Yeah.
There's money to be made in sports, and it's in sports betting, fantasy, and collectibles. So people aren't just looking at it as a fun thing anymore. They're looking at it as a way to make money.
Collectibles used to be a hobby. It's not
a business
anymore.
It's a business.
It's a wealth generator, is what it is.
Right.
Just like the stock
your
market.
Comments.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's a lot of investors. There are people that have taken money out of their investment portfolios to put it into sports because there's so many blue chip items that have beat the street. And at the same time, as long as you didn't do it in modern stuff trashed and burned.
Couldn't agree
Right.
with you more.
And there were
Right.
people that did that.
Right.
But the other people that bought game, again, if you buy the best of the best, generally, okay, unless you got caught in a bidding war where it was two people. So say an item's worth, an item sold for 200,000, but the real number should have been 75,000, and two people went back and forth out of principle to 200. Now, when you remove that one person, it's really back down to 75. So if you buy blue chip items without getting caught up in crazy bidding wars, pay attention to estimates, kind of have an idea of what an item's worth. They generally, over time, these best of the best items do perform very well. And there are people doing it as an investment. I never did collectibles as an investment. I realize that's the biggest part of my net worth, but I've always done it because I just enjoy sports so much. The funny part is will I ever get to enjoy the money part of it, or is that just going to go to my kids? You just don't.
Hey, Tom, why don't you tell them about the collectible that I have in my study, in my office?
I will. Mikey, do me a favor, burn that goddamn thing.
That hurts me.
Right.
That hurts me.
Hold on.
I was going to ask
Derek,
you for a
he's
value.
got a lock. He's an Elvis freak. He's got a lock of Elvis's hair.
Okay.
Give it
That's
to me
great.
by
Wonderful.
his barber.
Listen,
His barber, supposedly.
yeah, his barber.
That's very cool. But
You know something?
Listen,
love
I've
the
got a
laughing.
question for Derek. Derek, you've got a 1916 Babe Ruth game-used glove. What the hell is that thing going to go for?
I would make the argument that we were conservative on the estimate of $1 million. That is seriously, Babe Ruth named that his number one moment. I think it was a 14-inning pitching duel. And it was in a well-known museum at one point and deaccessioned. It was part of a major collection where other incredible Ruth items came out of. And, we knew where it was and we finally got it. And, I'll say, something like that, if my net worth was a lot higher, I would 100% go for that.
That's a great piece, man. I looked at it. That's just
find.
That's a museum piece. That's a museum.
100%. That is one of the coolest. Now keep this in mind, and why I collect. And this I don't know if I discussed it on the show before. And this goes for Orlando as well. He was the head of PSA, right? I was a head grader at SGC. Both of us, you would think, would have massive card collections. Both of us have memorabilia collections.
Right.
Memorabilia is a true piece of the game.
Yeah,
That's how I am.
That's right.
That's what I've done.
We've been talking about that for the last year and a half. How it's going more towards.
I've gravitated to memorabilia.
So put it this way: the Babe Ruth rookie sporting news card, okay, in a 7 is worth $3 million. There's a handful of 7s. How on God's green earth can his game-used glove, self-authenticated, letters from PSA, letters from Toby Denny Eskin, the autographs certified by Keating and Grad, the best of the best authentication, the provenance, how can that glove not be worth $3 million?
Absolutely.
If a card in a 7, how about a 6 is worth more than that? There is no chance if you put both of those on the table and somebody doesn't pick up the game-used glove, I would question are you crazy?
Right.
So this is why I think, and again, cards have turned out to be a tremendous investment. You can register them, collect them, build the sets. They're this size, okay? When you talk bigger items like jerseys and bats, gloves, they're more awkward to handle. And people start by collecting cards.
I agree.
I think as a writer,
we got about 10 seconds.
Oh, you're born, you turn into you're a kid, you collect baseball cards. How many people collect cards when they're a kid? That's where you start.
Derek's going to be with us to the end. We've got Chuck and Stacy coming on. We're going to talk a little bit more about memorabilia, about his auction, their auction. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
And we asked, how does your company or organization do promotions? Imprinted products keeps your brand in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising. For the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project, give Petroselli Marketing Group a call at 800-264-4294 or email mp@petrosellimkt.com.
Okay, let's say hi to Chuck and Stacy Whisman from Wheatland Auctions. Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Chuck. Hey, Stacy.
You've got everybody. You know Derek, and that's Mike, and John. You know everybody. You guys have an auction going. Let's some of the highlights, man, because you guys do a great job. And again, you have your niche. Heritage has their niche, so it all works. What do you guys have?
Yeah, so we have a great auction going on. We are about halfway through it. This current auction is going to end on February 18th. And we have a really great mix of vintage, a lot of 33, 34 Goudy cards. We have some amazing sealed wax. Chuck, why don't you give them some good highlights?
Yeah, you mentioned the 1930s. We have a lot of cool Babe Ruth stuff. One of my favorite items in this one is the 1922 American Caramel Babe Ruth. This one's graded a 4. I think there might only be 1 or 2 graded higher than this one. This is the pose of Ruth holding the baseball. But the Goudys, I think 2 of the Goudys graded SGC 4.5. So pretty much the full Goudy set from 33, most of 34, Batters Upset, Sports Kings, a good mix of that stuff, and a lot of 86 Fleer packed fresh stuff.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's amazing. Wax boxes are really hot right now. We were talking to Derek about it. Also, you guys have some non-sports stuff that's kind of cool.
Yeah, some of the old cigarette sets, a really high variety of a mix of things, even some of the newer Pokemon stuff. But yeah, the cases, love the football hobby cases from 2016 National Treasures, 2018, 2020, 21 National Treasures and Prism hobby cases. So these things that breakers and collectors just love. Some collectors just buy them and sit on them because they're getting scarcer and scarcer, because anybody who does breaking, which is a big business in our industry, is ripping them as soon as they get them, you know?
You know, our good friend down here, Charlie Perino, I think you guys know Charlie from JRI Cards. It's amazing. It's amazing the following he has down here with his show, and just the ripping, and who has the goggles and all that stuff. It's crazy stuff, man. It's crazy stuff. This hobby has evolved so much into so many different directions. And by the way, Chuck, thank you so much. I know you guys are making a donation with something special coming down our way for the Little Smiles auction that we're going to be doing down here. Open invitation to everybody to come down. We'd love you guys. Obviously you've done a great job. We have about a minute left. What else in the auction that you want to highlight? And we need your website address.
Yeah.
Any last things to
I
highlight?
would say some of the autographs. There's a nice Thurman Munson sign ball that he said Merry Christmas to someone on it. Pie Trainer autograph. A nice Ali Frazier, and I think another 1 or 2 Legends of Boxing signed glove. But just a good mix for people who collect old or new. You want to just talk about how it ends?
Yeah, absolutely. So the auction will start to close on Sunday evening, February 18th. Lot 1 closes at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and each lot closes 30 seconds after that. You do not need to have placed any pre-bids in the auction to bid as it closes. You are more than welcome to bid along with the ending with us. Go to www.wheatlandauctionservices.com, register for an account, and we'd love to have everyone join us.
Yeah, and as always, a part of our proceeds always goes back to our local community. We did a lot over the holidays, and always try to give back with every auction.
You know, Derek, we're talking to, as you know, Chuck and Stacy here. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've talked about it with us on many, many occasions. The smaller auction houses are so important to the hobby, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Or I mean, look, they had one of the greatest auctions with the signed Ruth cards and Gary. That find the Uncle Jimmy stuff. So I want to say I don't compete against them often, but they're small but mighty. So we have to watch, at Heritage, I don't, and they do a good job. I came and viewed. I don't know if you guys remember me or not. I came and viewed at your office, and some of my buyers did win a bunch of stuff. So they were great. And so I know you guys are going to come up with stuff because you're good people when you do it the right way. So I know you're going to get stuff. And I agree, Tom. There's room for everybody in this industry, especially ethical, honest people. It's a great hobby, and you're right. We've been blessed because the sponsors that we've dealt with, the companies that I buy for, they're all 100%. Just ethical is the word. Ethical is the word. All right. So your auction, your platinum auction, goes till when? February 24th and 25th. All right. Just real quickly, 62 Aaron game-worn jerseys, Willie Mays game-used jerseys, 86 complete clear set. Listen to this, Chuck and Stacy. The whole set, all PSA 10s. That's like insane. And Chuck and Stacy, we wish you guys the best. You guys do a great job. You really do.
Yeah, and come visit, Derek. We'd love to see you again because we moved to a bigger space. Oh, did you? Okay. Bigger. You still have the retail store? Yeah, and the store's a lot bigger and a lot bigger for the auction too. But and anybody, in Lancaster, we're blessed to be in a cool location. A lot of tourists and a lot of history of sports and baseball. We just recently had a collection of York caramel cards, which was manufactured close by. Some of the American caramels. So you just see some pretty unique stuff because of the history of baseball in this region of the country.
Your website?
www.wheatlandauctionservices.com.
Derek, it's HA.com. I always get confused. What is it?
HA.com. Go to the sports department.
HA.com. I want to say thank you to both of you guys. Mikey, thanks so much for coming on board. I've had a great time working with you over the years. We had a blast, and continue success with the Sicilian Corner.
Well, thank you, but don't expect an invitation soon.
Listen to me. I carried you for 21 years.
I wouldn't bring him back.
I wouldn't bring him back either.
He left. No, he made the decision to leave. That's it. You're gone now.
You're gone. You're like smoke.
You're dead.
You're like smoke, brother.
You could have stayed. Cher didn't bring Sonny back.
That's a good point.
That being said, Dan, thanks so much. Mikey, again, Chrissy, as always, great job. To our viewers and listeners, thank you for the support. Please make a donation to Little Smiles. Just click on the link, and we'll go from there. With that being said, happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.